Been waiting for a long time. She was in Kansas City, and they.
So you guys about ready for the wind farm to be wrapped up?
They
At least the ones way south.
didn't find, they couldn't do anything for her there.
Figure
So then she
probably
came
plenty
home.
of places to go with those roll-offs.
She graduated.
Well, I just tore Thursday afternoon, Friday, today, we tore houses down.
We've been good friends for a long time.
In Springs
Really?
with 20 yards.
You're really going to town up there. Is it the city doing it?
Yeah, the city's doing it.
How many are they taking down up there?
This last go around, they've taken 7 down.
Oh, really? Are they condemning them, or what are they, or is it like an incentive program or grants, or?
Some of them's just lost, you know, the trees and everything about grown up around them.
Yeah.
Just cleaning the town up.
Good.
Good.
They got 11 of them in Weimar coming down right after the first of the year, so.
That's a funny town because certain parts of Weimar, you see those kind of icky houses, but then you can go to the, like the back part, and there's a real nice area, very nice
Oh
houses.
yeah, you drive around, you'll see a house that's beautiful, and then one that's like
One
a
right
house
next-
in there,
Yeah.
and then there's
Exactly.
another beautiful one. I imagine those
It's
neighbors
funny
are
how
happy.
it's setting in there though. I mean, like you said, there's a real nice house here,
And then,
Yeah.
yeah,
and there's another real
Then
nice
there's a
A
house.
lot of
shack
towns
and-
get like that, and that's when they usually get on the ball.
Yeah, they got a couple right down on Main Street they're tearing down first, so.
Got a couple buildings in Weimar on Main Street that are looking a little ragged. I noticed that the last time I was up there. Walls come
That
in.
one there.
You get one wall that comes out and starts to. The old Campbell store there, the walls coming out of it, and it's looking, it looks like they're trying to brace it 2-6s, but
And you get north a little further there on the east side, there's a building there, it's
it
the
says
old Ben's
Campbell on the
office.
sign. So I imagine.
The roof caved in, the
Really?
awning came in on it. and it's
you know,
just-
in other towns like that, to even more extent is Summerfield up there. Yeah, it's too bad. I mean, they're just not doing,
It's fallen into the street for a couple of years now.
oh yeah, it is.
Yeah, I think that's there's a tax thing, there's
It's a complicated situation.
yeah, it's a problem. It's not easy.
Calls me over.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Pipia? Present. Fry?
Present.
Roller?
Here.
Hughes?
Present.
Bikeman?
Present.
Price?
Here.
Barons? Here. Brom?
Here. First up, we have the approval of the minutes from the previous meeting.
I got one correction. On page 6, number 3, the dip in the bricks on Elm Street, it should be Jim Cohorst with an S, Cohorst. Okay.
Okay. Any other changes or corrections?
I have a correction.
Yes, sir.
Yes, on page 3 of the minutes after number 6, paragraph 11, before number 7, starting out with McNish, amend by adding, C.M. Hughes stated the mayor's response doesn't answer the question about what powers have been taken away from the mayor. As long as the whole thing's in there, I want the response put on the bottom of that.
What response? That McNish said it didn't answer the question?
That was my answer. I watched the meeting twice to make sure exactly what I said.
Okay.
There's a copy of it, where you want that to be included in the amendment.
Okay. Yeah, he just wants to have that added that,
Can't hear you.
he just wants to have that added, that Hughes, that Hughes stated the mayor's response doesn't answer the question.
Move to approve minutes, regular meeting, October 25th, 2021, with the amendments.
Okay.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next up, we have 5-minute public comment. Is anybody here for 5-minute public comment? Okay, move on to business and discussion items. First up, we have the Marshall County Partnership for Growth Annual Report and Membership Application. I don't think Ellen came, did she? Was she planning
I
on
think the
coming?
main idea, I didn't know if she was coming, but I think the main idea was so you could read her report and then decide on future
Yeah.
in your application. Right
We're
now,
funding at the silver, aren't we?
the silver
Covered,
level,
right?
$2,500 annually.
So what are council's thoughts? You want to continue to fund at the current level?
Yeah.
Okay.
Move to approve a membership to Marshall County Partnership for Growth, the silver rate of $2,500.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Next up, we have the wireless speaker system with Kate.
Hello guys, how are you?
Good.
Okay, I am Kate Tomer. I'm the director for Mayersville Chamber in Main Street, and I am here to propose the idea of a new wireless system. I would first like to thank you guys for all the effort and time that you guys have spent into fixing the system when it's been down and all that jazz. It's been a fun ride, but we'd like to upgrade into something a little bit better. In the items that I had discussed about, I went into a little bit more detail of what exactly we'll be looking into. I wanted to highlight a few things. Our main goal is to create a welcoming environment for people to conduct business, shop, really just a really great experience that helps encourage people to come back to Marysville. Trying to think what I want to say. So I reached out to a couple of the communities that already have this in place. Beloit, Concordia, Belleville, Colby, and Scott City all have this, and they worked through Street Sounds, which is based out of Georgia. And the guy that I've been communicating with is super easy to get a hold of. I mean, any questions I had, he answered them completely. He even gave us some estimates and kind of what we would like in our downtown, somewhat like what we already have. But some of the feedback I got from these towns were it's very portable and it's easy. For instance, when we want to use the microphone, we used it for the costume contest. We had to wheel up the big sound system and place it next to United Bank, which is usually how you do it if you want to move it to a location, like if you're announcing a parade, that type of thing. But what we would have in place of this wireless system is we'd have a little box, and you basically just flip the microphone on, and you just have a box with you, which is more convenient than wheeling it up,
Yes.
3 blocks. But that was just one of the great things I heard, was just very portable and easy. The Mayersville Community Foundation Board has agreed to fund us up to $3,000 in match money if we raise $3,000 by the end of 2021. And then we also have an anonymous donor, which is also matching up to $5,000. There is no deadline on that. Right now, the sound system isn't in stock. We're third in line out of 24, maybe. I'm not quite sure when we'll have that back in stock, but he was hoping maybe fall of 2022. He said that's just all dependent on what they can get in. But in Chamber and Main Street, when we do get the system, we'll obtain full responsibility. So that won't come back on you guys to do any fixings of any sort, which I don't believe there is much. I believe it's just updating the system every couple months and stuff like that, which is all accessible online. I believe that is all I have. The projected cost is around $35,600. That's just dependent, you know, that those prices stay the same come next year, but if they're low stock, they're probably gonna go up in price. And shipping was like $40 per unit, so that was also kind of hard to kind of estimate. So that was the number he gave me, so that may shift a little bit, but, the idea of fundraising for this, we're kind of throwing around some ideas. We are game planning for that because we would like to have it fall 2022. So I believe that is all I have.
Now, it says they don't install the system.
No, we would actually install it, but on their website, they have like maybe a 20-minute tutorial on how to install them. And he said it's super easy. He said that they don't install them typically because usually out-of-state people end up buying the systems.
Okay.
But that's easily doable. Like, I could probably do it. Not that I want to do that with 15, but it's honestly doable through some volunteers.
How do they get power from the, I mean, they mount to the light poles, correct? So do we have power to those full-time, or are they all switched with a?
We'd probably have to adjust them. They're actually off of an eye right now. So probably have to make some adjustments so that they would have power full-time.
I would say, and I kind of talked to Will about that too, because that was one of the things he mentioned, is they may have to shift a little bit for the electricity use, because if you have it on a set time that only comes on at 5 o'clock, well, that doesn't really help your sound system during the day if you want to play music.
No, right. And so, yeah, we might have to put, individual eyes on each light or something, I guess, so we got power there all the time.
Right.
I would say, other than that, that may be the only thing that kind of popped up. Their website is very informative, which is where I pulled a lot of my information. So if you want to know anything about any of that stuff, I mean, it's all on there. I'm not a whiz on it, but I've been studying, so getting better. But
So, what's the warranty on it?
I don't know. That is a good question. I'll have to ask him about that.
Huh? Oh,
I meant to look that up.
yeah, I was gonna look it up today, and then I got busy doing something else, and I forgot.
So I looked at the
so.
website, but I'm like you, I didn't look what the warranty was.
And yeah, now that you
might
mention
be
it, I don't remember.
important.
Yes, it would be.
How long have Belleville, Concordia, other places, how long have they had these systems in place?
Belleville, I believe, installed it last spring. Beloit would have been last summer, and I can't remember the rest of them. But Belleville just installed theirs, I think, this
So it
spring.
hasn't been a long trial, we don't.
Correct.
Okay.
But, I mean, they honestly didn't have much to say, any negative feedback at least. So I guess that's good for at least a good 6 months.
Is it pretty expandable? If at some point we wanted to extend it to 4th Street or up to, I don't know, 13th, 15th, whatever?
So because I asked about if they do finish the corridor going up to the depot, if we wanted to expand to that or to the park. I believe Austin was talking about that you guys had envisioned that area, getting some speakers. We would have to buy a whole new system, so it would be, again, that $35,000, just because it's only to those speakers, if that makes sense.
Do they make a system that has the ability to add in more? I mean, kind of, even if it costs a shade more now, it'd be more adaptable later?
Not to my knowledge.
Okay. Just,
I would say, when I talked to him, he said you'd probably want separate, just because, one, the park, you probably don't want the same music that's playing downtown. I think that's where he was getting at, is that you probably want a different system for that. But, I mean, I guess for expanding that, you probably just want more speaker units and probably another transmitter.
or repeater or something?
Or something like that would be my guess. Which would probably, I don't know what the price is, thinking back on it, but.
The existing system, the city owns, correct? Correct.
As far as your question of expansion, the Q&A on the, can you add more street sounds units if you want to expand? Yes, you can add as many street sounds radios at any time you like. Each street sound radio is a repeater, so it retransmits radio signals.
So as long as it's within range of another speaker, you can keep
Oh,
daisy
that's
chaining
awesome.
them?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
thanks,
and yeah, just, if we wanted to go just down, by the Wagon Wheel and along 7th Street so when the barbecue's in town, we use all that, area. So that would be an expansion where everything would want to be the same thing, so.
Right.
Yeah.
And you never know, eventually we may want to cross 10th Street and go on up
Right.
to.
I would say that's what I was kind of seeing. I'd like to include them eventually in on that too.
Okay.
So, in that vein, is it controllable where if you only want, this block of speakers, can you can remote shut down whatever segment you want?
Yep.
That's
Oh,
kinda
yeah.
nice too, because for events, if you're doing it right here, you might want it right at the corridor, but
Exactly.
not want it up at 10th Street.
Exactly, yes. Yeah, so that'll definitely be nice.
Did it say anything on warranty?
I'm looking,
Oh,
I'm
you're
looking
looking.
through
The existing
That was a good
system-
question. I didn't even think about that. That's the most important part, right?
Well, to me, I think we need to know that before I would want to vote on it.
The existing system then, would this be using the same brackets and everything? We'd just be pulling the infrastructure of the old system?
That's what I wasn't sure of, what the speakers were at right now. I think they're almost the same size, so I would hope we could get away with it.
We'd remove the existing speakers. These speakers are two speakers with basically a wireless router in between them. And they they'll probably bracket right where the other speakers were.
So we just, surplus the old equipment?
Yeah. If we can.
Yeah.
So
They've
it
been out.
says you have to run Cat5 cable.
To the main unit. Should be. Because they're all wireless.
And it says they don't use Wi-Fi or Bluetooth.
Which is
Right.
nice.
You're right.
I'm gonna say
You'll
that.
want to get in on it.
Not
Uh-huh,
applicable.
that's gonna be perfect.
The other question I had was, so if it's their equipment on our infrastructure, on our poles, do we need to have some sort of MOU about that? Because, in general, we don't let a lot of people put their equipment on our equipment, correct?
Probably wouldn't hurt. What they did in other towns specifically, I can't even remember which, Belleville or whatever, they said they didn't have an agreement specifically and didn't see the need. They saw it as a plus. But for our purposes, yes, I could see
We
that.
got bid on some equipment getting damaged once because we didn't have an understanding of where responsibilities lay, so I think that's probably not a
I think
bad
that's-
idea.
It's not a bad idea.
Someone hit a pole and knock it down.
Sure.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah, it does.
Sorry to say that, but it does.
No, I get that, so that makes sense.
Well, go ahead.
This is their equipment, but we're gonna be just using it. Is that it? Are we purchasing
We're
it?
purchasing it.
Who will be the sole owner of this?
Chamber and Main Street.
Will be the city then?
Well, no.
No.
Okay, that's, I wanted to know that.
So if some other third-party entity is operating downtown and wants to use it, they come to you for permission to use it?
Yes, so we'll be in charge of loaning it out, because I think now you guys do like an application process and loan it out, so we'll take that over as well.
Yep.
I imagine you'd be pretty generous with different entities wanting to use it for good purposes, for events, etc.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, no, we won't do
Just to
that.
be on the record.
No, we will, for sure.
I have one other question, and that was, you mentioned about this periodic upgrade or whatever. There was never any figures about maybe what that cost every 2 or 3 months or whatever this is. Is there gonna be a charge there or something?
For what?
I think he's talking about like software upgrades.
Yeah.
Is that what
I
you're
don't think so. I think it's just like your standard iOS for iPhones, just updating it. I don't think there should be any cost. It'll just be a program
They'll upgrade it,
upgrade.
but there won't be a case where we're into a monthly thing then?
I don't think so.
So we'll pay $10,000. We're gonna walk away from it. It's your headache.
Yes.
If something breaks, it's your headache.
Yes.
You're not gonna come see us like everyone's come to see the city.
No. I know, I
Sounds like
figured
a
you
heck
guys
of a
would be a little happy about that.
Your amp's bad, or this is bad, or that's bad, and
Nope.
it doesn't work, and
We'll be good to go.
So did you research other systems as well as this, or was this just came so well recommended and being used by similar cities?
Well, I looked into some other ones, but this company is designated for Main Street use. And I think that was most eye-appealing to me because other towns in Kansas were using that. I believe there's a couple other towns not even listed on here that even had it in Kansas. So it was kind of, it's for outdoor activities made for Main Street, basically. I'm pretty sure they have like a Kansas Main Street, or Main Street America's stamp on it. So, I say, and Austin also had suggested it to me, so that was also nice too. I know he had kind of looked at it a little bit before. But
Okay.
would you guys, would you like me to return next time for, to give you that update of a warranty too?
What do you think?
Yeah, might as well. I mean, we need to know. It would be
Yeah.
nice to know.
Well, I mean, another 2 weeks isn't gonna matter that much, is it? And you're already on the waiting list, it sounds like.
I was gonna say,
so-
we're on a waiting list and, yeah, I was gonna say, it's gonna take some time.
Okay.
And there's no place that I can find it on the website.
They mentioned a warranty, they just don't describe it, because they're talking about installing a weather cover on the Cat 5. If something fails, our warranty doesn't cover. That's the only place where it says warranty.
Somewhere they've gotta have a PDF legal doc that's got their warranty laid out, so.
I'm wondering if it's not on their planning and zoning application, like if there's not something, there's like a big application you fill out once you're like ready to buy it.
Right.
I'm gonna say that might fall under there. I didn't dig that far.
You can stream audio from your favorite subscription services, Pandora, Sirius XM.
I'm gonna say, and right now, Chamber and Main Street has a program called Cloud Cover, and that covers all of the licensing fees. So like we just pay like a monthly subscription and it's all taken care of, which is probably
Yeah,
what
they
we'll
mentioned
continue
Cloud
to do.
Cover too.
Mhm.
Here.
Okay.
Why don't you come back to the next meeting and,
Okay, that sounds good. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thanks, Kate.
Yep, thank you.
All right, next up, we have the Black Squirrel Park signage.
This one, the group, Maureen signed up for this, but they wanted to place a sign. I think they were getting it designed and paid for already, but they wanted to place it within our right-of-way, and the ordinance state that the council has to approve signs that are in the right-of-way. So that's why this is being presented to you.
It's still 18 feet off the off the Jackson, so it's not
Yeah.
gonna interfere with sight lines.
Yep.
Move to,
Concrete pad there. I noticed
Yeah,
that when I
yeah,
drove by there.
yeah, move to approve the request.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? 8-0. Okay, there are no notices and hearings. Next up, we have the consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Any discussion about any items on the consent agenda? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 8-0. Next up, we have appropriations ordinance number 3759.
Move to approve appropriation ordinance 3759, amount of $579,859.54.
Okay, have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Yes, Terry?
I noticed that one thing in there where we had to replace a door on one of our own buildings for about a slide-up door or whatever. I didn't notice that anybody had ever asked us about that to begin with. Was there?
The spring and the door itself was becoming inoperational due to rust. So I think it actually fell down once, so it needed to be replaced.
Where was it at?
And the street shop.
The whole door did.
Yeah, it's on the side where we park our salt truck.
That's why it's corroded.
Yes.
Yeah, that would do it.
All right.
Any further discussion? Roll call?
Pipia,
Yes.
Fry,
Yes.
Schroller,
Yes,
Hughes,
Yes.
Eichmann,
Yes.
Price,
Yes.
Barons,
Yes.
Rom.
Yes.
8-0. We have Austin with the staff reports.
All right, the only thing I have on my list are the financials for the month of October. With 2 months left in the year, the general fund finally went under $1 million. We have spent about 69.48% of the budget in the general fund, and we're at 83% through the year. So that's a positive on that one. Water and sewer funds both saw positive growth in the month of October, an increase of $27,473 for water and $35,760 for sewer. Sales tax fund is sitting at $765,756, which is about $50,000 less than last year at this point, but we've been doing some projects and getting some things done with sales tax, and $765,000 is not a bad place to be as far as sales tax goes. I mean, right now we're at a positive note in the fiscal year, and I'm hoping to end pretty well. So, any questions about financials?
Okay.
I'll just talk about the projects that are going on so we can, 11th Road, they're most of the way through the concrete portion of 11th Road. They poured one section of the second phase, and they are preparing, on Friday, they were forming up for the next pour. So once they pour that, they should be done with concrete. I think they were planning this week possibly. And then they have some finishing work to get done. They put a nice big tube underneath Prairie Lane to keep the water going. To make that tube work, they got to form the ditch, the drainage ditch around it. But because right now the dirt is halfway up of that tube, and that's not going to work. So they still got some work to be done, but they're moving right along. Airport Road, they got all the parking lot poured, and the very first portion of Airport Road poured, and so they got the majority of the road left, and there was a discussion on whether they should pour it all at once, or actually that's what the inspector from Olson said. They were planning on pouring it all at once, but he would not be surprised if they split it into two. But they are moving right along in that one too. Fire station they got all the major concrete poured. The front apron, the side parking lot. They still had to pour the generator slab in the back, but I talked to them about that. They were going to this week, I think they talked about tomorrow, finishing coating the concrete. I forget what they said, making it look nicer on the inside of the bays. They were clearing all the stuff out today, all the trash and stuff like that, all the boxes out of there so they could get that done. There's still some back order issues as far as I can see. I would not be surprised if there was a request for another extension because of not at the contractor's fault, but that they can't get pieces, they can't get necessary parts in via supply chain. I don't know how they're going to approach that. I just wanted you guys to be aware of that situation. But they got a lot of the interior done, a lot of the piping done, including the 2-inch pipe that you guys just asked for to be done. They installed that already. Gas pipes have been installed. The heaters are on the roof. The lights are running. Electricity's going. Kansas Gas was just finishing up, if they haven't finished by now, I think, I would be surprised, getting gas to the fire station. I don't have a whole list of things. There's some things they have to change, according to the engineer, but, those are things being worked out, but I'd probably look for a request from the contractor on that.
What can they get?
I don't have a list of that right now. There's some small things in there.
Question on that. They're north of the fire station where we're not concreting. Because of all the work that's been done, it's a little chopped up. Does street department have any rock or anything we're gonna go back in there with and kinda try to grade that out a little bit before snow flies?
The contractor's gonna grade it out.
Or they are?
Yeah, that's a part of the plan because
Okay.
that's within the footprint. The original plan was to seed it, that's in the plans. The thought is to possibly rock it because the rest of it's already rocked.
People park there for the ball.
So we can forego the seeding, of that small area and go for some rock on that area. Cause it does make a lot of sense not to have to mow right there.
Sure.
And possibly have a little tiny bit more parking area.
Yeah, I imagine it'll get some traffic anyway, and
Yeah.
if you try to seed it to grass, it'll just end up mud, and we'll have to rock it eventually, might as well just rock it now.
Might as well start it out, yeah.
On Prairie Lane, off 11th Road, I saw the tube go in. Are they putting an apron in there? Are we gonna continue the sidewalk gap there? Is that part of that project, or is that something we need to be looking at further down the line?
I'd have to look back at the plans for that.
I couldn't find it in the old plans that I had.
I don't think there's, an apron there. I think they're gonna put it back. There might be, so for instance, the driveway's on the other side. They put about this much of a driveway in there. It might be similar to that, but I'd have to go back and look at the plans for that.
Prairie Lane's a private road,
Yes.
correct?
No, Prairie Lane's is ours.
Is it a publicly?
It's
ours.
It's our right of way, yes.
So, if there's a sidewalk gap there, if there's no apron there, then that's on us.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, it looks like, there's a nice sidewalk along there. I know some of the senior housing and people use that. And there's a gap there and we're doing all the work 5 feet away.
Right.
Maybe that's something we can look at as I don't want to put any more projects in the street, but put that, on the list of things to accomplish at some point, just because it's a natural gap. I understand we're not in a position to go paving Prairie Lane, but if we could get at least that apron, that might keep more detritus from washing down into the ditch, onto the road, and it'd complete the sidewalk.
Okay. Any other questions about projects going on?
What about the, ADA ramps and?
AHRS has been focusing on, the airport, but they've completed some of them. And wanted to get the airport done and then get right on the ADA ramps.
Okay.
Or we'll put them off till next, or we'll wait till next year and do it then?
Well, they're under contract. He didn't have, I don't know what kind of timeline he needs for the rest of them. I know at least they got 4 or 5 done, of the, locations of the 14 that we had contracted with him. If necessary, yeah, they could trail into next year.
They still have some barricades on our neighbor's corner at 14th and Walnut.
14th and Walnut?
There's some barricades laying there.
Oh, for the ADA? Okay.
Well, they never picked them up. I don't know why they're laying there, but there's some barricades there. I assume they belong to them.
Okay.
What about the lights at Feld Field? Have they started them yet?
No, because Jared is working, or Hanover Electric's working on the fire station.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I figured, but I guess I just figured they'd be starting on them too.
Right. Yeah.
So, how many more, cold purple lights are we gonna have on our street lights?
They're probably all gonna turn purple before, Evergy gets to us.
Yeah.
Wichita is where they've been working on replacing, and that's the I don't know if Evergy's replacing them with the replacements that the contractor's supplying, or if the people who made the lights are actually going in and replacing them.
So what is the actual difference, putting that purple hue in there?
You can't see as well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
can't see.
it's not good for sight in the night.
So we pay, the city, do we pay an amount per light?
Yeah.
So while it's not providing the light that we're paying for, do we get a discount?
There's been a discussion on my listserv, and nobody's had success
I mean,
with that
I was
argument.
across the street walking here with this coffee, and I was literally afraid I might get hit because the lights are that bad.
It makes everything dark.
It does.
Yeah, it
It's
does.
weird coming
Yeah.
into town.
Yeah.
Makes me glad we don't have those all along Broadway and
Yeah.
some of
Yeah.
these better lights.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what was their reasoning?
The lights are failing.
Like, okay, I got that. Let's go back again. What was their reasoning to choose that sort of light to put back in? Wasn't there something?
It's LEDs, and it was probably the lowest bidder.
There's a manufacturing defect from
Yeah.
that particular
And we get it.
factory in Shenzhen.
Everybody
A lot of people
everybody
have them.
across the state got them. They're working on replacing them in Wichita. Manhattan has it. Lawrence has it. I mean, if Lawrence was last, we'd all be happier. But
Oh, now come on.
Hilarious.
but the last I heard, they were still working in Wichita to get them replaced. Manhattan, I think they were going to work their way through the state to get them all taken care of. But yeah, we're waiting for them to come in.
Okay.
I'll bet it'll be midsummer before they get
Oh,
to
yeah.
us.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Okay.
that's all I got.
Okay. Standing committee reports. Anybody got anything for street?
I'm not sure which one this goes under. I could argue street or parks or water, wherever. There's a huge stump down there by the water, or by the street shop in the Broadway right-of-way. When we went and they cleaned up those houses and
Oh,
everything.
yeah.
Did that one just get missed, or do we have a master plan for trying to remove it? I'm
And
just curious because
That
it's
property
yeah, by the blue house. Is that one stump in the right-of-way between the sidewalk and the curb line?
Mhm.
That's an old elm stump, I think. We gonna try to do something with that at some point? I'm not saying we need to do it, like the street crew needs to do it by any means. I'm not saying that, but just seems like we got everything else cleaned up and leveled out, but we left that. I just didn't know if there was a reasoning or it just kinda got overlooked.
we probably just never got back to it.
Okay,
So yeah, there's probably a plan to remove it. It's just
it's a big old stump, so,
We got a stump grinder.
yeah.
Okay. Anything else on street? Water and wastewater?
So you guys are out working, so looks like they got a pretty good chunk on the street of 11th Road North done today.
yeah. They've been working at patching and crack sealing. It's gonna hold for until we get to, I think 11th Road North is on our list for doing something with next year. So yeah, they've been trying to hold it up.
Okay. Anything else on water, wastewater? Parks and Rec? Cemetery and airport? Police and fire?
Oh, the fire station,
Mhm.
I think it was, we talked about having stoplights on each end so the fire trucks can control that. Is that something that we still need to think about getting?
The
6:30 to 7 in the morning, then noon, then after 3 o'clock, it's gonna get busy right there.
It was discussed when we were planning the fire station, and that was one of the things we discussed. We kind of put a hold on any more discussion on that. I mean, we can talk about it in the future, but we were going to see how it panned out.
Wasn't the cost kind of
It
prohibitive?
was
like
a lot more than you
$120,000?
would think.
At least $80,000.
Yeah, something like that.
80,000?
Yeah,
Okay.
for one light, I think.
To me, if we wait to see how it pans out, to me, that sounds like a little too late.
Like I said, the committee itself, talked about it and turned it down, yeah.
I did have one thing on street I forgot to mention. I think we have a couple of the pedestrian crossing lights out and a couple of the street lights. I don't know if that's just, I don't think we inspect them on any regular basis, but at 14th Street, I know a lot of kids cross there to go to St. Greg's and stuff. I think that at least the northbound pedestrian light on 14th is out.
On that note, I'm not usually out very late at night, but, a week ago Saturday night, I did, helped at the hospital. And when I come home, it was almost midnight, and the light on 10th Street never turned yellow.
Right.
Totally.
To, what do you mean?
Well, the other one turns yellow when you're coming across 36, so that you don't have to stop at the
It
light.
cycles all night.
Yeah,
So you said a week ago Saturday?
Yeah.
I think this last week we finally got Gady, and you've probably seen it.
I seen them going.
They came up and fixed it.
okay.
Actually, they even got the lights somewhat similar, close to being timed right too.
Yeah.
If you leave 8th Street. you can get to 10th.
Our lights are a little aged, and we're looking at some upgrades. You might be seeing some recommendations or some quotes in the near future for either upgrading the guts or just upgrading to what the other two lights have. So that'll be a discussion in the future.
I just thought, why do I have to stop here? I don't have to stop at the other one.
It's been like that all summer long.
But like I said, I'm not usually out that late at night.
Anything else on police and fire? Or maybe update them on where we're at with the application process for the chief of police. And I know there's been some discussion too about who should be involved in the process of interviewing these candidates. I'm kind of open for any ideas. I mean, I've thought about it quite a bit, and I know a lot of people would like to see the new council members involved in that. I also know that'd be difficult, and then how do you pick out of those three which ones are going to be involved? Police and fire committee would make sense, but two people that are on the police and fire committee are getting off there here in 2 more meetings. I mean, kind of thinking about it, and this is just an idea I'm throwing out there. Kevin is the president of the council. He's also, I think, had the most years on council of anybody on here. So my thought was Kevin would make sense. Todd Fry is the second most amount of years, and I think he's the only one on that police and fire committee that will be on there after the next 2 meetings. That's just an idea I'm throwing out there. What are council's thoughts? Yeah, Terry.
You bring up a subject about that. A lot of people have mentioned to me that they can find no evidence that there's any advertising for this. Where have we advertised?
The League of Kansas Municipalities, the League of Nebraska Municipalities, the League of Missouri Municipalities, City Code Financial, which sends out a daily email with advertisements of jobs, and then a national recruiter picked up the ad. I didn't ask them to, but they did. Also advertise it.
As far as several people have called me and said they can find no evidence of any advertising anywhere. I was just curious.
Okay.
I'd say just wait till the new council is formed, and when you can form the new police committee with those 3 members. That's where I stand.
New police committee with those 3 members?
Well,
Or what do
when
you
you
mean
form a
with
new
one?
council, you're going to have new
There'll
members
be people,
for the
new
police
people on
committee.
that committee. Mhm.
Because they're the ones, the new council, they're the ones that would have to work with the new chief.
They are. You could also make the argument that the old council knows everything that's going on. I played with the idea, and I can see the advantage of having the new council members involved in it. I can also see that you might be kind of throwing them right into to the wolves. Right off the
Yeah,
bat.
well,
I know.
but they signed up to be
I-
thrown to
I
the
know.
wolves.
It's,
I'm,
might be a trial by fire. It
for
might
sure.
be.
No, I'm not a big proponent of lame duck councils being, making big decisions. I don't think we're in any situation where we have to make a decision quickly and nimbly. So, as somebody who would be involved theoretically on either side of that divide, I'm okay with waiting. That's my 2 cents.
How do you feel about it, Kevin?
Like Todd. We're not pushing anything.
Parker?
Applications are in.
Parker? How do you feel about it?
How do I feel?
Yeah.
Throw them to the wolves. Ask them which ones can be here, set
I
up
don't.
the applications, throw them to the wolves. Throw Todd and Kevin on there, cause president, one of the most seniors, makes perfect sense. Throw the other 3 to the wolves.
Well, there'd only be one of them on the,
2 others.
was there 4
Put
of
them in
them?
there as citizens
I
since they're not city
don't-
council members yet.
Yeah.
They haven't taken the oath. Put them in there as citizens, throw them to the wolves. I am that simple.
I don't like that idea. But
I don't think
Let me
that's
tell you this,
right.
I don't want anything to do with it. They signed up for it.
I know, but I would like to get things done with this new council, and I don't really want to start off with council at each other right first meeting in either.
I don't feel like most of them, when they decided to run for council, that they knew that this was going
Well, they
to
filed
happen,
before any of
so,
this came up.
yes, so I don't think that that's right, so. I think it needs to be settled before the new council takes over.
I would,
Well, you didn't ask for public input.
I would, with what, Terry?
I think the new council should be involved in this.
Yes, both of them should be.
Well, there's 3 new council members.
Well, that's my feeling. I think the old and the new should both be involved.
But we have a new council every 2 years, so it's bound to happen where big decisions need to be made around the time new council. So
Yes.
I think, for better or worse, people weighed these things when they were voting last week, so out of respect for that, I don't think even the perception of shoehorning anything in would be good, so I say we wait, let the new council be part of the decision making.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, do we need to vote on it?
I wanna make a motion that we wait on.
That you wait to interview the chief of police until after the new
Until
council?
the new council is here, they're gonna be the ones working with us, they're getting handed the package, and they should be allowed to have some say in it. I make that motion.
Okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Probably ought to do a roll call, because I know this one's gonna be split, and otherwise I'm gonna wonder who voted which way.
Pipia,
Yes.
Fry,
Yes.
Schroller,
No.
Hughes,
Yes.
Beichman,
Yes.
Price,
Yes.
Behrens,
No.
Ron.
Yes.
6-2.
Steve?
Okay. Well, that would give us more time to advertise in a couple of these other outlets that have been brought up. Because we're gonna have another basically about a month.
Will that include actively working with the police department on top of that also?
It depends on, I don't know if you guys wanna run this through a committee, or if you're wanting to make an ad hoc committee, or how you're
I
gonna
think
handle this.
years in the past, it was always done by the committee instead of the whole council.
I mean, I saw somebody.
Is what I heard.
I saw somebody post that, and I know that I've been on council for 4 years, and granted, I was on police and fire, but I can never remember really an application ever coming before council. I can remember updates, like saying, hey, we've had 3 applicants, I think 2 of them are good, we're probably gonna hire these 2, but I can't myself ever remember voting on who we hired in that department.
On the flip side of that, when we hired Austin, it's totally different, but that was the whole council where we interviewed you.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that was before my
Yeah.
time, I mean, you were on here then, but, a lot of us weren't.
So, I guess it's up to you,
Well, it's up to council how they wanna handle it, if they wanna put it through police and fire.
Well, I'm in favor of having pretty active committees. I think I've gone on the record with
I
that
know.
before. I'm in favor of, that's the committees to do the legwork in their designated column and then bring that to council.
That's why you have committees. Otherwise, there's no sense in having a committee.
And I know, but sometimes you send something to a committee, it comes back to council, and they don't like the idea, and it gets thrown out, and you're just right back where
Well,
That's
I mean,
okay.
it happens sometimes.
That's
Well-
government.
I know.
Well, they just have to work a little harder the next time it goes back to committee.
Well, yeah, committees can get feedback and then go back and work
Yeah.
on it more.
That's
They
it.
can. And
That's-
sometimes they do. Sometimes it gets sent back to the committee with a recommendation.
Sure.
Yeah. So, okay. Anybody else have anything on police and fire? Admin and finance? No appointments. City attorney is not here. I don't think we need an executive session for anything, do we?
yes. We need to go into executive session.
We could have a short one. And I know what yeah.
Yes.
We could go in a short one, just for like 5 minutes. You want to make that motion for non-elected personnel? You got it there?
For 5 minutes?
It'll just take 5 minutes, not to do, I want to update people. I would go 5 minutes without the city administrator.
I move the city council recess into executive session to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel, discussion on specific personnel matters, not general personnel policies, exemption KSA 75-4319B1. This session will include mayor, city council members. The open meeting will resume in the city council chambers at
7:55.
7:55.
Okay. You have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 8-0.
All right.
Yeah, we'll go back there quick.
Yeah, we'll make it.
I guess we're gonna
We're gonna go.
I don't know.
Say that again.
Nope. Call this meeting back to order. No binding decisions were made. We resume the normal meeting. Roundtable.
I
Bobby?
had my say about, the ramps, so that's it.
Okay. Todd?
About the what?
The ramps getting done.
Oh,
No, nothing.
Diane?
nope.
Terry?
No.
Keith?
Glad to see the nuisance list is getting smaller and smaller.
It is, it always does this time of year though, cause we're past the mowing season.
One that's
There's a
still,
few.
I mean, it's better, but it's, yeah,
That's all I got.
Parker?
nope.
Nothing?
Nothing this evening, sir.
Kevin? I don't have anything either.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?